Tonight, the Milwaukee Bucks are in town to visit Sacramento to visit our Kings, your Kings. The Kings, 40 wins. First time since 2005, 2006. I want to say 2016. Don't know why. Anyways, the Bucks roll into town at 48-19. We'll get you all ready for tip-off. I'm Ryan in Sactown. This is the pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
Audio Jungle.
Happy Monday evening, everybody. That's right. Lids Rhino is in the house. Yeah, house. How did I say that? I shouldn't have said it that way. But welcome to all you. Thanks for joining us tonight. The Kings, they are going to get tested tonight. This Milwaukee Bucks team is a very, very good basketball team. And some of their strengths are quite frankly some of the Kings' weaknesses. They are third in the league, speaking of the Bucks, in defensive rating. So you're going to see the top offense in the league, top offense per offensive rating in NBA history with your Sacramento Kings take on the third-ranked defense in the league and a two-time All-Star in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis was questionable for this one, but numerous reports are saying that Giannis will be playing tonight. Kings are at full strength, so nobody listed on the injury report. One notable guy out also for Milwaukee, that's going to be Joe Ingles. Good hand off the bench, lefty shooter. He is out tonight with left knee maintenance. He did play against Golden State. Milwaukee's coming off a loss to Golden State on Saturday night. So pretty much both teams are at full strength. But when I talk about some of the Kings' weaknesses, what's the first one that comes to mind, everybody? Not too quick. Defense, right? Well, that's what's going to kind of shine out here for the Kings tonight. And we can get to some bright spots that we saw with Kessler Edwards and how the Kings may defend Milwaukee. But Milwaukee is a very long team. And when I say long, I mean, the Kings don't deal well with length. Guys that got the long arms, long legs, can get out and run. Although Milwaukee doesn't like to run a ton. They're 11th in the league in pace. So the Kings can kind of push that on them if they'd like. But in terms of defending, that's what makes it difficult for the Kings. We've seen that numerous times this season where they don't deal with the length well. Toronto is a game that comes to mind. There was a couple just within the last week or two. I can't think of the team. But you look at Milwaukee from top to bottom, Giannis, freak, absolute freak. That's why they call him the Greek freak. And then you've got Chris Middleton, very long. Don't forget about Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is such a special player and so important to what this Milwaukee team does. In fact, in the Kings' first meeting with Milwaukee, which was a 126-113 loss, Holiday had 31 and Giannis had 35. So Holiday is a tricky matchup. But getting back to the length, you have Bobby Portis coming off the bench. In the starting lineup, you have Brook Lopez. He's an inside-out big. He can shoot the three ball, loves to shoot the three ball. So the Kings are going to have their hands full, no doubt about that. But we know that the Kings can step up to the occasion, and we've seen the Kings do that on numerous occasions, just as recent as Saturday night against the Phoenix Suns. Huge win on the road. Huge. And if you want to say who that win goes to, hey, what's up, Jeff? Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it, man. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to, if we hit this game, I will be on cloud nine. If we don't beat them, I will not be upset. Well, I wouldn't say don't be upset, okay? What I would say, Stan, is, if they get blown out, then that's going to be a little troublesome. I mean, you are a 2 seed right now in the Western Conference. So you do want to see how this team matches up against the elite NBA teams. And ever since the win against New York, the Sacramento Kings have been literally the darling of the NBA, getting a ton of run from all the national media. I don't know about all of you, but anytime I pop open my phone or go on YouTube, I'm getting Stephen A. Smiths and Kendrick Perkins and all these guys talking about the Kings. JJ Redick. I know JJ's been on the Kings wagon for a little bit, so respect to JJ. But getting back to what I'm saying, we want to see how the Kings match up with these guys. And for a Kings fan, we've been lucky after the break to see a lot of teams that have not had their stars. And, all the credit to Sacramento for taking care of business. They can only play who's on the floor. But there is a part of me as a Kings fan that I want to see the Kings play the best at full strength. Milwaukee, missing Ingles, not exactly full strength, but pretty much as close as you can get to it. So, and yes, Jeff, I have not looked at the scores. I was going to. Memphis is killing Dallas right now. Definitely a game we are going to be keeping our eye on. Memphis is playing good basketball, surprisingly. Very, very surprising that Memphis is playing this good of basketball without Ja Morant. In fact, Ja Morant, there's a report that he checked into some type of rehabilitation facility. I believe it's for mental healthness or mental wellness. I don't have all the exact information on that, but what I can tell you is there is no timetable on his return. It's some type of wellness facility in Florida. So that will factor into how this happens and what goes on down the stretch with the Kings, whether they keep the 2 seed or not, or if anybody passes them or the Kings move up on Denver. Denver is on a 3-game losing streak. I don't expect that to really continue, though. I think that they'll get things right. What's going on, Sea-Dog? What's up, my man? Hope you're having a good night. And thank you all for checking in. I really appreciate it. Give me your comments. Give me your thoughts on the game tonight. Golden One. Let's talk about Golden One for a second. Golden One's going to be rocking tonight. The Kings, there's some out there reporting that they officially have made the playoffs. I don't see the X next to their name, nor do I care if there's an X next to their name, because they still have 16 games to play, and it's all about momentum going into the playoffs. So, anyways, getting back to defending and how the Kings may want to play Milwaukee tonight on defense, because that's going to be big, because Milwaukee, again, they are the best defensive rebounding team in the league, and I can promise you they rebound a lot better than Josh Hart. So the Kings are going to have to get bodies on their guys and really use their fundamentals and box out. In terms of perimeter defense, I think, we've got something special. I'm going to use the word special in Kessler Edwards. I use the word special, not special like we have the next coming, but the entirety of the circumstance, right? We got Kessler on an expiring trade exception. If it was one of those things that if Monty didn't use it, then we lost it. And the Brooklyn Nets gave us money back to take Kessler. So it was basically a runner. And it's turned out well thus far. And Kessler has shown that he, in the 2 times that he has gotten extended minutes, he has shown that he is able to play those 3-and-D guys, those guys on the perimeter with length pretty darn well and get up in their grill. I mean, him and Davion Mitchell on defense, they are a nice 1-2 punch. And you saw them turn the momentum a little bit in that game in Phoenix. And Kessler, in the first half, had the highest plus minus out of anybody on the court at plus 14. So that's why I use the word special, because it was something. Kessler was somebody that, Monty had obviously targeted or was on their board. I mean, those guys have every possibility listed out on players. And, what could happen, who they may like, what would we do in this situation? So it wasn't like, oh, we'll just try this guy. They had been watching him. I mean, especially because he is a Pepperdine guy. I'm sure Doug Christie is kept a decent eye on what Kessler was doing. But it's cool that Kessler, if he can continue to fill this role for the Kings down the stretch, that's exactly what the Kings kind of needed. You remember we were thinking about Thibault, like we need the 3-and-D guy. Well, we may have gotten one on the cheap. And I'm not saying he's going to be Thibault, but he definitely could make this team better. And he's shown in his 2 appearances that he makes the team better. But it's a very small sample size, so we'll see. I would expect Coach Brown to probably give him some more run tonight. I am interested to see where he comes off the bench tonight and how quickly that is, because I do think there are a couple players on the Bucks that he matches up well with. So, all right, reading your comments. Love them, love them, love them. Yes, Jeff, that is right. Luka and Kyrie are out for Dallas tonight. So give me your guys' thoughts on Kessler Edwards. Don't tell me that he is the next Kevin Durant. I don't want to hear anything like that. But realistic thoughts on Kessler and what you've seen from him so far. Edwards has been a hell of a pickup. Yeah, William, he has been a good pickup so far. Absolutely. Yeah, SDSU seed, number 5 seed in my backyard. Yes, indeed. Go Aztecs. They got a 5. I don't care about the whole traditional 5-12 thing. This is going to be the Aztecs year. Not saying they're going to win it, Rich, but I think they're going to get to the Sweet 16 at least. We'll see how that plays out. You guys, is everybody doing brackets? I would imagine you are. Those are always a lot of fun. And it's funny with the brackets, right? Because it's always the people that win like the bracket pools. They pick their teams on colors and they pick their teams on mascots. And they don't even watch basketball half the time. And then there's us knuckleheads that are like grinding it out. But anyways, I divert. Yeah, Rich, he has been a big surprise. And with him, it's going to be consistency. Again, we want to see what he's going to do over the long haul. And that's going to probably start tonight with some extended minutes. And we will see. CD, come on, man. CD. Oh, wait. Wrong one. Sorry, you guys are coming so fast. NCAA, buddy. NCAA. All right. Who do you want to see, or what do you want to see from Keegan Murray tonight? Great question, Justin. I want to see Keegan do more than hang out around the 3-point line. I am fine with Keegan scoring 10 points, 12 points, as long as he has 8 rebounds, 9 rebounds, because that's what the Kings are going to need tonight. And you know what? I also want to see some more physicality from Keegan tonight. It's going to have to be physical across the board for this Kings team to rebound against Milwaukee. So I want to see Keegan get 3 fouls, 4 fouls. We don't usually see that. You don't hear that very much, but yeah, so just aggressiveness. The 3 ball, we already know what you're going to get from him typically with the 3 ball, but I don't want him to wait on the offense to come to him. I want him to come to the offense. Whether that's a pump fake drive or, making and creating for somebody else. I want Keegan to get involved. If he's involved, awesome. Let's see. Oh, much love from Redding. What's up, Redding? How's it going? You guys getting some rain? We're getting some really infrequent, kind of weird rain right here. We got some comments on the Kings lottery draft. Here we go. I think Edwards can be a Jeremy Grant level player. William, I'm not ready to jump there yet because Kessler, there's just not enough tape on him yet. If there's one thing you can do in the NBA, or one thing that's easier to do in the NBA when you come to a new team, it's defense. If you are just a defensive hustler and you're all over the place, a lot of the teams run very similar schemes defensively. That's easier to fill in there. Offense is a little bit different. And I want to see more of what Kessler can do in extended minutes. But I can promise you, William, if he continues to play the way that he played against Phoenix, and what was the other game, guys? Help me out. I believe it was the game before the Knicks. So help me out. if he continues to come off the bench and play well like he did in both of those games, then, he's going to get more minutes. And who knows? Sure, maybe he could get to that Jeremy Grant level. Let's see. We got another one. What Edwards can do is eat into, he did on. So that's not specific to Keegan. Let's be clear about that. Mike Brown throughout the season has shown he is going to ride the hot hand. And if somebody's playing well, somebody's hustling on defense, he is making the team better, he will leave that player out there no matter what time of the game it is. And he will give them extended minutes over a starter. He will eat into Keegan's minutes. Absolutely. If he is playing the way that he played in Phoenix tonight and the next game. If he's not, then no, he's probably not going to eat into Keegan's minutes unless there's a favorable matchup that Mike Brown likes more with Edwards on the floor defensively or offensively against the other team. It would. It would be huge, Peter. It would, every win at this point is huge. I know that for the longest time, we've been all about making the playoffs. Thank you, Rich. It was the Pelicans. I know that we've been all about making the playoffs. Well, we're here. Okay. The Kings are going to make the playoffs. The Kings are going to host a first round series short of something very drastic and tragic happening. So now it's fine tuning, right? It's making sure that the guys aren't getting hurt. It's getting ready for that postseason play because the game does change in the postseason. It's officiated different. Scouting is different. There's just a lot of differences. So it's getting ready for that next coming run and going into it with momentum. That is incredibly, incredibly important. So let's see. We got another comment about the bench. Looks like Coach Brown is broadening the bench. I think Coach Brown is looking to actually hone in on what his rotation is going to be when we get to the playoffs. So broadening, yes, he is looking to know exactly who he is going to turn to or who he wants to turn to in those situations when that time comes along and the playoffs start. So one other thing that is always broad and always awesome is Bennett's menu. If you have not been to Bennett's, you have to go check it out. They have locations in Roseville, Sacramento, and a soon-to-come third location opening up in Rockland at the Blue Oaks Town Center. Bennett's, they have just about anything you can think of on the menu. Portions are huge. And let me tell you, the food is amazing. Easily my wife and I's favorite place to go eat in town. I love the hanger steak there. Huge fan of the red fish. My son loves the burgers. So go give Bennett's a try. Huge sponsors of the show, huge fans of the Kings. Brian and his team are awesome. Again, Bennett's in Roseville, Sacramento, and a soon-to-come location in Rockland at the Blue Oaks Town Center. All right. And again, thank you so much to Bennett's for their sponsorship. So Grant and I will be back, we got to get this clear. I do not want to get yelled at by the boss. I will be joining Grant on his halftime show, and then I will also be joining Grant on his post-game show to wrap everything up tonight. But first and foremost, halftime show. Be here. Those are always fun. We always ask for your scores. Get those to us. You can start shooting me some scores right now if you want. Let's see. Is the Greek Freak playing? Yeah. So he was questionable. He is playing tonight, Justin. So far as we can tell, there's been numerous reports that have come out that they are planning on having him be a full go. Let's see. Does Malik Monk come off the bench? Yes, Harry. Malik comes off the bench. Typically, he's the quote-unquote sixth man, but usually you will see Davion off the bench before Malik on a normal night where there's not foul trouble. Edward, defense is going to be, you know what? Yeah, it will be. We have to keep our expectations realistic for what the Kings can do. But there's parts of defense that will be so important, like dribble penetration, Drew Holiday, because he can kill you off the dribble and he can absolutely eat you up from behind the 3-point line. So the Kings have to make sure that they are not allowing the straight line penetrations and the straight line drives to the hoop, especially down the middle. That is a defensive killer. And then also finding a man and boxing out. Not being squirrely to leak out and think about offense before you've secured the ball. Oh, we have a Brian Bennett question. Did you know Brian Bennett used to work at Chevy's? I did not know that. Interesting. Way back, Rich. Rich, my man in San Diego, all the Sacramento knowledge. And by the way, if you don't know, Rich goes on some really, really cool vacations. So good to know. Yeah, Brooke Lopez is a beast to defend as well. That's how I started the show. The Bucks, their length is very troublesome. We've seen how that has been hard for the Kings this year. So that's why boxing these guys out, pushing them out of the lane, make them reach over the top of you. That's what you have to do tonight, and it's got to be all 5 guys on the floor. You can't rely on Sabonis and Kevin Huerter flying in or Harrison Barnes flying in for a rebound. It's got to be a team effort. I mean, hell, if you got to throw 2 people at Brooke Lopez, then you do it. But I would like to see the Kings kind of try to get Brooke to play a little more outside. I know he really loves that corner 3 ball, but push him outside, make him beat us with the 3. And then go from there. I think also one of the things that's worked actually the last couple games, we've seen it. The Kings have been pushing teams off of the 3-point line, meaning they're making the other team start their offense further out from the 3-point line. And, we've seen the troubles that causes for the Kings when teams do that to them. And I think that's caused a little bit of issues, which has caused turnovers because then the passing lanes are longer. It's a more difficult shot if you're further away from the bucket. Decision-making is different off the pick and roll. So we will see what they do. But, yeah, defense is going to be big. What's up? Is that like from those, was it Bud Light commercials? What's up? What's up, Frank? How you doing tonight, buddy? All right, Guerrero, what's up, my man? Let's see. Kings need to treat this game like a playoff game. Yeah. Well, to the first point of your comment, the Kings need to treat every game like a playoff game. Going in, even if they're playing Portland, even if they're playing Utah, Chicago, which is coming up next, every game needs to be a playoff game. Because we've only got a couple guys with playoff experience, right? You've got Harrison Barnes that's won a championship. Sabonis has playoff experience. So yeah, every game should be treated like that. If the Kings want to do well when it comes to the playoffs, this is the game. I'm not going to say this is the game. This is the game to give us a barometer of where the Kings are at, because the Western Conference has been funky this year, to say the least. Injury ridden. Almost every single team in the Western Conference has had a star out at some point for a significant amount of time. The Kings are the only team that has not. In fact, it's not even close. The Kings starters have only missed 14 games combined this season. The next closest is in the range of 70 games. So, that's saying a lot about their health, but we've also seen the Kings playing against teams that have not had those guys. So in terms of tonight approaching this game, I want to see how they match up against a legit 2 seed. Like, if this is any other season, which for the Eastern Conference, it's been a fairly normal season injury-wise, Milwaukee's a legit number 2. The Kings, the West has been so funky. 40 wins right now at this point in the season would not normally have you at the 2 seed. So that's where the barometer is for me. And then also seeing them match up with somebody that has an MVP. like Giannis, and a extremely complimentary piece to him in Drew Holiday. So, yeah. Who's getting the sixth man of the year, Portis or Monk? I'm glad you brought Portis up. Portis, again, length off the bench, athletic, can do a little bit of everything. Hustle guy. That's for the Bucks. He's a very important part of what they do. I'm not sure who's going to get sixth man of the year at this point. Monk has struggled. He had a bad January. We all know that. But Monk, he hasn't been as great. A little more up and down, right? The last few games, but I lean Monk. Maybe I'm being a homer here, but we'll see once the season has ended. And just if there was any lingering questions right now about whether or not Giannis is playing, I'm looking up the screen and he is in the layup line. So looks like he is a good to go. I don't really have any comments on Big Perk. Well, other than Big Perk. But I am not a huge fan of him as an analyst. I appreciate him giving the Kings run. We'll leave it at that. Let's see. Monk is the definition of he is. I don't want to say unpredictable because you know what you're going to get from Malik in terms of the way he approaches the game. But the shooting, scoring, a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes he gets a little bit out of control, gets caught in the air and throwing the ball around a little bit too much and turning it over. But I think unpredictable is fair. I do. Let's see. Can the Kings stop Giannis and their lengths? Yeah, they can't. Well, here, let's preface it this way. You're not going to stop Giannis. It's more about containing Giannis. For the Kings to do that, the Kings are going to have to shoot numerous looks at Giannis. I don't think they double him. Maybe if it gets late in the game and it's a close game and they want to get the ball out of his hands, then they'll send a second guy at him. But the only other thing you can do is give him different looks. And by giving him different looks, what I mean is put Harrison on him for a little bit, put Keegan on him for a little bit, put Kessler on him for a little bit. Switch it up so he's not getting comfortable against one player on the Kings. That may help contain him. In terms of the length across the board for the Bucks, that is simply going to be two things. Defensively, boxing out, making sure you have a body on somebody. The second thing is going to be physicality on the offensive end and making sure that you are not being pushed out. The Kings are not being pushed out past that three-point line where they're starting their offense. Because even if they are starting their offense at the three-point line with Milwaukee's length on the perimeter, that still causes an issue for the Kings looking for that three-point shot because, that's a harder shot if somebody can reach over the screen. So we'll see how this plays out, but length is something, again, that has bothered the Kings, but we know the Kings can deal with it as long as they're playing fundamental basketball and they're following Mike Brown's game plan. Golden One. Let's see another one about Golden One. Yeah, it is. Golden One is going to be really loud tonight. I expect it to be rocking. I for the Phoenix game, and I know that one was on the road. I said I thought it was going to be a blowout one way or the other. One team would win by double digits. Kings ultimately did win by double digits. Wasn't necessarily a blowout. Tonight, I think this is going to be a close game. The key to this game is going to be a quick start. You can't let Milwaukee punch you in the face early. If you let Milwaukee punch you in the face early, remember, they are a champion. Milwaukee has won a championship. So they are not going to let off the gas pedal. They are going to, the room for error with teams like this is so much smaller because those runs that the Kings are notorious for making, those are harder to come by and they're fewer and far in between. So that's why a good start is very, very important. Howdy, Pam. How you doing? Thanks for joining the show tonight. Energy, yep, we need to have energy. Absolutely, absolutely. When we speak about energy, and this has been talked about a lot lately with De'Aaron Fox, and we are getting close to tip off, so they're doing the crossover right now. So we'll be on for just a few more minutes. There's been some debate. De'Aaron's come out slow in the first quarter, but then, if he can do in the fourth quarter what he does, why can't he do that out the gate? Well, there needs to be a balance of that, right? I think De'Aaron can be a little bit more aggressive right off the bat and have a little bit more energy right off the bat, but there's also something to be said about this Kings team when everybody gets involved and everybody's touching the basketball. The nights where the Kings have upwards of 35 assists, those are the nights that they play the best, and they usually win. And De'Aaron is the facilitator of that him and Sabonis. So he has to find that balance. And I know Coach Brown has challenged him, challenged Sabonis, challenged the whole team. But the start across the board for these guys playing a team of this caliber absolutely has to be strong. Doesn't have to be a 10-point lead. You just need to be there with them. Great start. Yep, Guerrero. Great start is key for success. Kings need to hang around. That's right. And don't, hang around. That's a loose term, right? It's not that they need to hang around, but if the Kings are playing, punch for punch basketball with Milwaukee, then you know what? That's a barometer right there in its own. So that's not a disappointment that they're down 2, down 3. They are going toe to toe with an NBA champion. So definitely, yeah, you're right, Guerrero. I'm with you. John, my man. I can't do the if you don't like that well. That's the boss's thing. That's his shtick. But light the beam or like the beam. Yeah, hopefully it is lit tonight. We'll see. Yeah, why don't we do that as a prediction, guys? If the Kings win, really quick, we only got a couple minutes left, and I'll throw these up. If the Kings win tonight, who's going to be the key and who's going to be lighting the beam? So let me know who you think will light the beam in a Kings win tonight. I think, you know what? I already have mine in my head, but I will throw your guys's up. Ryan signed my shirt. Yeah, you got it, Frank. But the problem is that's going to put the value of the shirt down. So as long as you're good with that. Let's see. Loving King Talk. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. Herder. Okay. All right. Herder. We have to win on the wings. Agreed. We've got a Kessler vote. All right. Yep. Kessler, Herder. I'm gonna go Harrison Barnes. So that's gonna be mine because Harrison is going to be asked to play a lot of tough guys tonight on defense. And I think this is a game offensively Harrison can capitalize on Milwaukee. So I'm going to say Harrison lights the beam. If we want to project defensive player of the game, who's going to be rocking that chain tonight? Here we go. Let's keep these going. Herder, HB. All right, Matt. All right. Any more? Fox, big game players to step up. If we're going to predict the chain tonight, I'm going to double down. And I usually don't do this. I'm not going to be that guy, but I am going to be that guy tonight. I'm going to say Kessler Edwards. And it's not because he played so well in Phoenix. It's because of the way that he plays, his defensive mentality, and the matchups with Milwaukee. I think Kessler can guard multiple guys that could give the Kings problems tonight. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Kessler got it last game. I think if the Kings win, he will see it on back-to-back nights. Oh, boy. Sorry, Grant, if you're watching, might get in trouble for that. Anyways, all right, we are getting closer and closer to tip off. Just a reminder, Grant will be here at halftime, so make sure you come back at halftime. And Grant will also be here post game. I will be joining him for both of those shows. We can talk a little bit more about those beautiful T-shirts over my left shoulder. But as I'm looking up, the game is getting ready to tip off. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the If You Don't Like That Kings pregame show. We will see you at halftime. So